I'll cut this whole part out. But actually,
don't.
No, no, listen,
don't cut
I
it.
wanted to ask you, because we were just talking about Big Green. Yeah. Hold on a second. I think my son is like trying to like get in here. He's excited about movie club too.
Yeah,
Let's go,
Big Green. We were talking about the guy. What's the name of that actor, Justin? Where he's like,
Steve
hello.
Gutenberg.
Steve
Steve
Gutenberg.
Gutenberg, that's right. I've seen a couple of stuff that he's posted recently. I'm glad that he's like doing well, because he killed that role. Like, it was absolutely amazing, like what he was
It's
doing.
such an underrated comedy performance.
But you know what my favorite part of that movie is the other guy, the opposite coach. I don't know if we and Justin always talk about this, Chet, where
The Raiders.
It's halftime.
The Knights.
The
Knights. Sorry, you're right.
The Knights. You say the Raiders. The Knights. And he's giving his team a speech at halftime, and the only part that he highlights with the megaphone is 2-0. So we always talk about how imagine if you were on the other side of the field and you don't hear it, you just see him pacing back and forth, and all of a sudden you just hear 2-0.
Dude, I think we were at a film festival right in the hotel watching it, and you were the one who pointed that out. He was like giving a speech to the team, and then only for the part where he says, he's like, and everybody, we're doing good, and we're up 2-0. So it's like all they heard from the other side was him just yell.
Was him just shouting 2-0.
I was like, that is the
passive-aggressive.
Craziest thing to do.
Yes, it's passive aggressive, and yeah, I wanted to talk to Chet about it
on a megaphone. You are down 2-0.
It's petty.
You want to talk? Okay, you want to talk about the soccer game that's 2-0? 2-0 in a soccer game right now?
No,
2-0.
I actually didn't mean to. I didn't mean to connect those.
What do you mean you want to talk to me about it? 2-0. Yes, that stuff what Australia was doing to Turkey. 2-0.
I guess it's vengeance for what you did to them.
Yeah, it was a battle of Gallipoli. Right.
We've gotten we're getting way off it. The only reason why
we haven't. I wanted to say, so not to come. Sorry to cut you off, but you asked me about Big Green, right?
Yes. So the only thing that I was actually thinking about with it was how brilliant of a choice that was, like, as an actor, to highlight like your passive aggressiveness towards this other team. Your pettiness to them, to try to like find ways to break them, to pick that. I don't know if that was a choice or if that was written in, but if it was just a choice, that was an absolute brilliant choice to make in that moment.
I agree. I honestly, like, I would really like to know, but based on, this too, like that has to be a choice, because first of all, the Big Green is not that complex of a script. Like, I don't think those kind of details. Yeah.
So I would agree with you. I think it was a choice, and it was good. I was like, this.
Also, is this hello? Yeah. Like, that's the same.
Hello.
That's the same. Like for example, the complexities of the script are like when the kid is having the visions and goalkeeper, like. That visually, those are cool, but like the little individual things, it's like, it's like if a director is like, he's hiring Steve Gutenberg, he's hiring that other guy, he's like probably not necessarily that focused on getting everything perfect. It's really like, you're going to be compelling as a character, like, go off a little bit. This is a comedy. Let's see where we go with it. To me, they're the best settings for comedy, because you gotta find it in the moment. Everyone's gotta be there. And
that felt very much like that was in the moment. That, like, he felt that, and then he just gave that to you. And then, I mean, we're spending the time talking about another movie, which is really great. Maybe one day we'll have to pick Big Green. But yeah. Before
we keep going on that, I was gonna say the goalkeeper one. Right, the kid, the Hambino, that movie stayed with me so much, because I was at youth soccer. My dad was the coach, and as a goalkeeper, like, I did that. I would go out in my mind, and like, when the the people turned into the knights,
You would
and they
change the
turned
people
into
into the Terminator.
yeah, the Terminator, and I remember like visualizing that happening before a game, but not realizing that he was doing that because he was scared.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a team called the Adjusters, and I'm like, oh, what can I turn them into in my head? And it was just I like these kids with sticks like adjusting the ball, like no.
I was
I
thinking
like
like
both.
something like way more boring, like a real estate, like something like adjuster and like
I
like
did the
way more
opposite of what that.
boring. I feel like the owner of that team was probably a real estate adjuster, and he's like, "Look at my team, look at my franchise. We have a great agency here. I have a soccer
Yeah,
team called the
they were
Adjusters."
the Remax Adjusters.
Yeah, we're getting lost. So you guys should watch Big Green. We're giving you all kinds of movie suggestions here. Welcome back to what is this first one? Like we gotta welcome back to the movie group chat.
The movie
Formerly
group chat.
known, and we don't need to worry about what was formerly known. Movie group chat. Justin picked this movie this week. Justin, you mind telling people a little bit about movie chat, and then also then just kind of go into what the movie was for this week?
Movie chat is in this?
Yes. The movie
Oh,
chat
okay.
as in this.
All right. Well, for everybody joining for the first
The
time,
movie group
this
chat. The movie group chat.
is the movie group chat. This is the movie group chat where you can join the chat. We talk movies. Each week, one of us picks a film, and then the others watch it. And then we talk. We give our thoughts about it, and we're gonna eventually open it up to you in the audience to be able to pick a movie for us to watch. We all just love movies. That's the thing that we share. That's the thing that unites us. And we all love movies, but we love them for very different reasons. And I think that's what makes this kind of conversation fun.
Justin, I think you gave a great introduction into what the movie group chat is. The things that hopefully people are able to do is, when they submit us ideas, is like really just bring in movies that you like. We're open to anything, everything. We are all things movies. We love movies. That's why we started this, and we wanted to be able to share conversations with people like yourselves. So, Justin, without further ado, you mind letting us know? Oh, wait. Before we do, there's also another person that eventually will be on this podcast. We got to give a shout out to every single podcast to him. This is, our group chat. We always talk about movies. We started out with a movie club. Aaron Brick, who is a real producer, as we said in the last one, doesn't always get the opportunity to come onto the podcast, but every once in a while he'll pop on. He'll definitely be asking us some questions, suggesting some movies, and be a part of this too. So shout out to Aaron Brick and everything that he
He's
does
our
as a
Kaiser
producer.
Soche. Brick is our Kaiser Soche.
That was it. I didn't know if
he
Chet
real?
or
Is he
Justin, you
not?
guys had anything else to say to go into
Is he
before we go
real?
into
Is
the
he
movie.
not? We don't know. But everybody knows the name Aaron Brick, just like they know Kaiser Soche.
When I say that I have a friend named Aaron Brick to people, if his something has to do with him comes up, they're like, "That's not a real name."
That's not a film. His
No,
name's not
I
Aaron
was
Brick.
thinking I always think of him as like he's like a Buddy Garrity type. Like he is like if you know Friday Night Lights, like he's there
Clear as
and
full eyes
he makes
canvas.
sure everything is good, and then he just kind of this way. But that's a producer for you. They make sure everything is good. You don't really always see them into the forefront, but Brick is just as much a part of this. We call him Brick as any one of us. And I don't know if you guys had anything else to say before we get started with the movie club and Justin.
Nope, let's let it rip. All right, the
Let's
film
go.
that I chose was 1988's directed by
Chet did have
what?
something to say.
Oh, you did? What else do you have to
not
say?
anymore. It's fine.
Justin, you did that pretty quick. I was like, does anybody else have anything to say? Nope. All right. Excellent. And now
I'd already, we were done. Like, what else were you going to say that wasn't just dragging?
I was
you
good at. I had an
wasn't just
idea
dragging you.
for a fun transition into the movie, but there's no going back. Okay, we're here. I'm gonna do it.
we like to have fun, y'all. So hopefully you
Yeah.
enjoy this too. We like to have
Go
fun.
ahead.
I was going to say Aaron Brick is kind of like the guy who comes in a movie who's like batting 1,000, comes in, then leaves, and then comes back in at the end of the movie like, oh wow, that guy like kind of made the movie, but he was only in it for a little bit amount of time. And I was gonna say something about how there's a character in the movie that we're about to do for you to talk about and to transition over. He's kind of like Keith David in this movie that Justin's
Aaron
That's the
Brick is
second
absolutely
Keith
nothing like
David
Keith
reference
David.
that we've had on this podcast, just so you know. That's the second one.
the,
Or the
the
first
first of
episode, we
many.
also referenced Keith
First two.
David.
The
Keith
first
David
of
is going to
many.
be a guest on this podcast one day,
Yeah.
and we're just going to be able to just sit and listen to him just talk about
I'm gonna
life.
call it the barber shop. You can come in, get a little trim, and you can get some
You
trim.
get some trim.
The third time we the third time we say his name, it's like Beetlejuice. He'll just appear.
You are
That's-
relieved.
We need to hear his
You
side of
open-
that.
You opened that door.
For those of you that don't remember, Jeremy, in the last podcast, we talked about how Keith David was a director on something that he was a background
I was a
on.
stand-in, which to me made no sense. But like, I was a stand-in for him.
Okay, so if you're standing and you say you are
Isn't
relieved,
he like
so you-
6'3" too?
Yeah,
as
he's
well?
actually like Chet size. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
I was like,
legitimate
on
shit.
top-
like he's
On
a
top
big
of
dude.
being
I was like, oh, this is a
40
big
years
dude.
older than you, he's also like 6'4".
Yeah, but that is
I
What
just
were
looked
you
it up.
saying?
They
Wow,
just
that's
needed
funny.
a body
I've-
there. They just needed a body there, but it was a cool experience. He's a legend. I loved being able to see that, like a true thespian. But we were digressing. We're getting way off it. Justin, go ahead.
Take it away, Justin.
All right. The film that I chose was from 1988, directed by John Carpenter. If you're familiar, Halloween. And it is called They Live. It became a bit of a cult classic. It's the story of a drifter played by none other than Roddy Piper. I'm a WWF guy for life, so come on, play the bagpipes. But it's
Shout out to Roddy
about
Piper.
a drifter who discovers a dark secret in our society, and that there is a ruling class that controls everything from employment to advertising. To not give away too much about the film, but that's what we did. That's what we got into. So let's rip right into some of my questions. I'll start with, as I said, this was a cult classic, meaning it wasn't particularly well received when it first came out. Didn't even really make that much money. Yet over time, it has kind of stood in the zeitgeist of film. So my question to you guys is, what do you think made this film both not initially successful when it came out, but then growing into what it became?
Jeremy, go ahead.
I mean, I have a couple of reasons for that. It's a great question. Like, I thought this movie was really good because of the way the story is presented to you. Yes, you're in this world. You see these people. They're aliens. They're, not human. And there's, all these different elements that are in it that kind of like we're living in a world that's not really our world. But really what I took away from it was like, I think that it could be where it wasn't really well received is because people could probably associate this with some level of like communism or like a propaganda towards anti-capitalism. And I mean, it came out in 88. So I can imagine that probably some of the feeling, especially from people in like big business in Hollywood, was probably some level of perception of like, this isn't really a message that we want people to kind of get behind in a larger scope. Yes, it's a movie. Yes, it's, an idea. So I think that probably played a big factor in it. Another thing is, I don't know how popular like Roddy Piper was, Keith David was at that time. I mean, wrestling, we know him from wrestling, but I don't know if the rest of the world, like wrestling is way bigger than it's ever been, right? Like in
Right.
regards to like its popularity.
Wrestling was big, but this was kind of the first movie to star a wrestler.
Yeah,
'cause,
like that's what I'm saying. Is like,
because obviously you had Andre the Giant and Princess Bride, but supporting role. But this was like
Right.
really one of the first movies where the wrestler was the star.
right.
Only
And I-
want a peanut?
Well, what and that's a Princess Bride reference. If anybody didn't get that, but I don't know if he was actually really popular enough. I don't know where Keith David was in his career yet. With his popularity as well. I don't. What year did Halloween come out?
Halloween came out in 78. I believe.
78.
Okay.
Maybe 79.
So the director had already made kind of, Halloween, but like that also doesn't necessarily always transition over to mainstream, like knowing directors and things like that. So
Well, I was gonna say if I may about Keith David, and I'll get into this a little more later because I have a point about this. But Keith David did The Thing with John Carpenter in 1982, so it's about 6 years before this. And The Thing, much like this, was not well received either when it came out. So Keith David himself has now become known in the zeitgeist for the thing. But at the time, to your point, he wasn't really that popular of an actor because the movie wasn't actually that popular in the 80s. It got popular later.
Yeah, and I think piggybacking on what Jeremy was saying, I think the height of the Reagan era, I mean, it was literally the apex of the Reaganomics, and the way that people really bought into that level of excess. And it was a year after Black Friday, or was it Black Monday? And so it was almost like the people were being fed this, like, everything is fine, go buy stuff, trust the government, trust everything. And then, mind you, while that narrative is being shaped on television and coming from all the politicians, this movie is saying the opposite of what that national narrative. I mean, none of us were alive at that point, but just a half-assed look into history, like, just shows during that timeline, this is the antithesis of the thought process and pattern of the people in charge at the time. And so, and that this is the year that they're transitioning over into Bush Senior. And so, like, it's it was so interesting to me because you don't see any 80s stuff questioning authority. It's
No, you
if it
don't.
is, it's subtle. Like E.T. kind of does that, right? But it's because it's under the guise of a kids movie, so it's not in your face. This is
this is in your face.
quite
Yeah.
on purpose in your face. Now that's like the overall, like, socio-cultural look at it. But the answer to your question in terms of, I think it has to do with aesthetics too, because this movie is a B movie, but it is a really, really smart B movie. And those
I
two
have, yeah,
things
agree with you.
don't go together. Now, Justin, you and I sat in my apartment in New York and one of my favorite movie watching experiences was watching Samurai Cop for the first time
Yeah, I recall.
with you. Like, was that the first time you saw it too, or did you'd
Yes,
seen it?
I'd never seen Samurai Cop.
I mean, Samurai Cop, Germ, it is like,
I don't know.
it is a horrible movie on purpose. The budget is zero. Like, it is a typical 80s, like, BC-Z movie. Like, it's bad on purpose, but that makes it fun. Now, this would be an interesting double feature with that. Because it's almost like this shares a little bit of that aesthetic of, like, okay, it kind of goes between, like, a really cool action movie and, like, clearly a B movie with the cheesiest lines. And so how in the world are you going to market a movie that is with that aesthetic and that smart at the same time? I think it didn't even have a chance to be popular when it came out. It was made for, like, us right now. Literally, they quote last year in the movie as it, right? I mean, we don't need to.
The 2025. Yeah.
They say
yeah.
by 2025 we will have a majority taking over there won't be
Of the
barely any
world.
humans left.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically speaking to, unfortunately, the era that we're in of, like, a not necessarily, like, broken, but, like, a completely rudderless society. Not to be bleak, but it's objectively we are
Right.
rudderless. Not to get into the specifics of it, but I think that's why it hits so hard.
Right. Which
yeah.
that will be a perfect segue into my second question. I'm going to remove my glasses now that I confirmed that you're not them. I've been doing that bit with my partner Naomi. Every time she pisses me off, I'm like, she hates
That's
it.
so good.
Because she knew
You
this.
just have your sunglasses right there the whole
She's a
time.
huge fan of this movie, so she gets the reference. Like she's the one who put me on this movie, and so like every time she pisses me off now, I've been like. But my second question, kind of piggybacking off of what Chet said, is I think one of the most interesting elements about this film is the way it attacks advertisements and television and really entertainment in general, and the irony that it's an entertainment film that is heavily critiquing the purpose and the use of entertainment was very interesting to me. So I wanted to know what did you guys feel about the parallels that exist between the subject matter and the satire of the film and now, piggybacking on what Chet said about how it feels more relevant now perhaps than it did when it came out.
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying is like, it's so interesting that a lot of the things we're seeing in this film, like it's everything is a symbol. Everything it has has a specific purpose. Um, and entertainment had so much of, getting the humans to obey you and do what you want. And there were commands on those as well as a reminder to always like obey. Um, I think that the thing that connects it to today that I can think of that is in a unique form that maybe he didn't anticipate that this would be is cell phones, is social media, and how there's lawsuits that are currently going on about how social media is in some way psychologically impacting, youth, or impacting just your general consumer at large. Like we're seeing studies that are showing, XYZ is happening because of this. You know, is there an element of influence and control that these larger companies have, which I think mirror what the film is about? It's really going to come from these larger companies that are doing all of these things, and then you just get the smaller ones like, for example, would be like the newsstand, right? The guy who was running the newsstand was not an alien. The guy who came and purchased that was. And what my point is that I think that they're highlighting is it's not the small business person. He's like, it's this elite class that the movie is saying. And I think that that narrative, if you are in any sort of social world now that you see online, you're hearing those debates happening now, right? Tax the rich, it's the elite, like it's, and then even on the other side of it, like, work hard, America's great, all these things, like you could achieve everything on your own, you could do it yourself. There's all this massive consumerism, purchases, products being sold. Amazon's one of the largest companies, if not the largest company in the world, for like product sales. Uh, there's a lot of parallels between those within then and now, and that is interesting to me. It may mean that maybe I don't know what it was like. I would have to really look at 1988 to see like if those things were happening, or was he predicting that this is how the world is going? This is where the world is going, or if it's been no change at all. It's just we're seeing new faces of the same thing.
I didn't really know how to answer that until you touched on it, Jeremy. And the word that sparked that for me was elites. Now, if my dad listens, he's gonna scream communist when I say this, but I promise you, I'm not. It's just an
Shout out to Farouk.
observation.
We love you, Farouk.
We love you. But the elites. To answer your question, Justin, in terms of like what are the parallels and why does it feel so now and not land then? The elites are no longer hiding. That's an observation, right? There are more elites and less companies. So it's I just can imagine, based off of what I interpret from what I know, like with just thinking about 1988 and around the era that we were born, 89, 90, 91, right? Justin, you were 91? Yeah, so like we were incepted around this time, like into the world. So in that time, like there was such a plethora of like stuff and products and companies, like conglomerates, right? Now they are mega conglomerates. They're like 5 operations into one in every subject. So the reason I'm saying that is like we can see the forest for the trees now, and that like they're not trying to be subtle anymore in terms of advertising. Uh the signs, I think, have somewhat turned into the black and white versions
Obey. Yeah. Like,
now.
buy more.
Like
Yeah.
they're just literally saying that now
Right.
because they don't care. Consume, buy, and we're like, yes. I mean, I do it. Everybody does it, and so that was the. I was also very interesting to see like the advertising was like cooler and more interesting back then, and when it flipped to the black and white, I was like, oh yeah, like things look more like that as a font. I don't know if as a font connoisseur. There's other words I was going to use.
Enthusiast, historian.
Yeah, I was going to say
a font historian. Because you're more like a font scholar, a font historian.
Yeah, I was going to say
More
font
like
plus,
more like
but
a-
that didn't.
I would say font Hannibal Lecter. That's what I would say.
Yeah, font monster. As a font monster, everything has from then to now, fonts have been homogenized. Shout out to that hat. Jeremy sells that hat.
My wife does.
Beautiful
Shout out
font.
to Noel.
It's
Dad's a hoot.
shout out.
Get a
That
bucket.
is dynamic. The kerning is great, but it's like it's not conventional. And if you look now at all of the logos of all of these companies, and I'm not necessarily fully complaining about it, to avoid being called a communist by my dad, but it's really like all of these logos have just started to look the same. They're more black and white. There's less colors in them. And I think it's obvious now what this movie is trying to say. And I think it felt blasphemous back then, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's one of the two powerful things that stood out to me was Jerem mentioned the newspaper reporter. Of all of the images, right? Obey, consume, marry and reproduce. The one that stood out to me the most was the one in the guy's hand, the newspaper guy's hand. And it said, "This is your God." And it was the money that he took. And I was like, oh boy. I said, oh boy, John Carpenter's stewing up here. Cause that was the one that was like, wow, that's a bar right there. And to Jeremy's point about the newspaper guy wasn't, but he's part of the system, right? There was a cop that wasn't, but part of it.
Yeah.
And the metaphor of how the elites, to Chet's point, turn working people against each other. And that leads into the second most powerful metaphor for me was the fight between Keith David and Roddy Piper. And one, how absurdly long this fight lasted. I mean, it was like
I thought that was
5 minutes.
crazy. It was a wrestling match.
So wild.
Like I felt like,
Yes.
do you think Roddy Piper choreographed that entire thing? It was like, we're gonna do a wrestling match in the
100%
middle.
no.
of
I
this.
looked up and Keith David said that is exactly how it happened. Roddy Piper was basically just taught him how to wrestle and was just talking him through like, okay,
It looked like a wrestling match.
Yeah, it was
It
just
did.
like
It felt like I was like, I'm watching a wrestling
like they're just like
match.
grabbing weapons, hitting each other with stuff.
He stopped acting.
No, yeah,
he stopped acting.
And it drug on for so long, but it was both cathartic. It was also hilarious, but it was also powerful because like the part where Roddy just starts busting out laughing. I was like cracking in the middle of the fight, but I felt like it wasn't out of place because the whole fight was about how hard Keith David, representing, right, the working man, was fighting to not know the truth. The truth that is there that he feels because when you first meet Keith David, everything Keith David's character was talking about was the truth. Yet when it came time to really face it, when he's like, please put these on, he still was like, no, No,
It
I
wasn't
have a wife and
please.
kids.
It was put these on.
Yeah,
Put these
yeah.
on. There
Put
was
them
like
on.
a
You have to see it. There
yeah.
was an urgency to it. Yeah.
He's like, you
And
need to
that
know
was
this.
so powerful at how hard he was fighting, just simply wanting to know. He was just like, I don't want to know. Whatever it is, I don't want to know where the bodies are buried. I don't need to know anything. I just want to punch in, punch out, go home, feed my kids. And that's very real. And you can't blame, a working man for being like, I can't wrap my head around what's jacked up about the system, and I'd rather just not know, punch in, punch out until it's my time to punch out of the world. And
Yeah.
that was such an interesting and hilarious yet still powerful way of showing that, which
My
will go into my
life.
third question now, and that's a perfect example of it. Uh, one of my favorite elements of this movie is the bizarre mashup of tones. Back to what Chet was talking about. It's it it is very much the step by step handbook of how you make a campy 80s B action movie. Yet at the same time, there's this layer beneath it of what John Carpenter is known for, which is that dark social commentary. Because if you see The Thing and you see his films, all before that, that's very much what John Carpenter does. He kind of pivoted to this campy B movie. So I was wondering, what do you guys think of the mashup of these tones?
Well, before I'll answer that, but I did want to add something to the end of what you said about the fight, and I didn't really discover this until I'm listening to you guys. That fight, it's about fighting apathy. Like Keith David it's almost like your 20s fighting your 30s. And maybe I'm thinking that projecting, but I just
That's an
it gave
interesting
me
way to look at it. I think about it just as larger, like I think societal denial, like that what they're seeing isn't really what they're seeing. And you always heard him. He always doubled back with, I have a wife and kid. I have things that I have to worry about. I can't think about this. Like I don't have time. There was such a fear of losing everything and impacting his family that he just like think
The
about how silly it
Yeah,
is.
the
If he's like
fear the
putting
fear
on
of
glasses and he
losing
was
was
like, I'm
greater
not gonna put
than
on those glasses.
the will to fight.
It's almost like he knew it was true. That's what I'm saying. Is like he
Yeah,
knew exactly
he
that
knew he
what he
knew
was
he knew
saying
what
was
he was seeing
true.
was going to. He knew what he was going to see. Yeah, I
I think
agree.
he knew all along because he kind of wondered also. Remember with the church, and
Hmm.
he went up to him and he was like, "You need to mind your business. You need to stop worrying about that." But he couldn't
Oh,
resist
that's
like
an
keep going
interesting
back over
theory.
there. Like I think his character actually knew, or at least had a hunch. Like some people
Yeah,
might, right? And in time, be like, I don't think things are exactly fair, equal, or I don't think things are exactly right. But I'm too scared to actually say something. And then when it's finally in front of your face, there is that moment of denial. But then you see he ultimately accepted it. Not only that, he went on the journey with him to try to, actually
and he accepted it
do
so
something
easy,
about
which
it.
backs your point that you knew because you accepted this very easily. Like you knew exactly what he was fighting it because he knew exactly what he was going to see in them glasses
Yeah.
already.
the I agree with all of what you're saying. I'm not necessarily a counter. It's just like in addition to, I think there's a version of that that's on the macro level. On the micro level, it's like I kind of felt like this is also someone fighting with themselves internally. Like there's a part of you that knows, and there's a version of yourself that is telling you, and it's almost like a youthful part. Like the youthfulness is saying, like, like, look at this, and then the part of you that's starting to grow up is like, I'm tired. Like I don't want to get involved. It made me think of this one uh thing from like 6 years ago when I gave everybody a metal straw for Christmas, like because I wanted to save the turtles. And my friend Lance looked at me like, what turtles are in Arizona? Like, And I was like, but do you not care about the ones around the world? And now I'm thinking, like, if someone gave me that now, I would be like, dude, I would like snap it in front of them and be like, this does nothing. So anyway, not all that to
But
say,
I think we're saying the same thing, Chet, because
yeah,
like
we are. I'm just saying,
the
like,
internal struggle was the acceptance of that. Like it was, you can know something and not accept it. And I think that that's what his character's struggle really was. Ultimately, until he did make the decision, and you can see a level of kind of relief that he has about himself, and then an eagerness to stop it, because now now I have to do something about it. I that's what at least I take away from like his whole character's like kind of arc.
for sure. And I didn't
So
mean to
to
detract
Germ, I'm
from
gonna
your
bounce this
third.
to Germ.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna bounce this to Germ. What do you think about the conflicting tones? Like, how compatible is an intelligent dumb movie? Because like B movies are known to be dumb,
To be
right?
honest with
And
you,
then
I
this is
think
the same time. It's
I
both at the same time.
sure.
Like,
I mean, I think that I think when you don't have a good script, you will always have a bad movie. And I think that what this movie really highlights to me is that when you have a really good script or a really good idea, let's say probably, and also like really good directing, you can make any movie good. Because to be honest with you guys, I didn't even think about the fact of like the quality of the cinema or anything like I wasn't even thinking about that as much as I was like intrigued by the storytelling and the layers of filmmaking that were in this. So to me, it just goes back to always is like when you got a good script, you always have a good movie. It doesn't really matter to me like what it'll look like or like, what your budget is or anything like that. If you have a good story, you will have a good movie.
Justin, I think I fully agree, Jerem. That's spot on. In terms of balancing this tone, one thing that I caught, and it has to do with the directing, is it's so obvious. It was really funny to start out how over the top Keith David was when he first came on. Yeah. He's
When
like,
he was doing
yeah,
the
the
hammer
purple
and then
tank top was fire. By the
it was
way,
incredible. I was
y'all
like,
gonna
that's
catch me
something
rocking a
Justin would
purple
wear.
tank top. It
that
is.
was going to be my one
It
quick
is.
thing. I was going to ask
Yeah.
Justin. I was like, how much did you believe in that purple tank top?
That's funny. I'm sorry I stepped on it. I've been sitting here. I have purple tank top written down in
I knew
caps.
you believed in it. When I saw that, I was like, that might be why Justin picked this movie. He might have caught a glimpse and was like, whatever this is, I'm all in.
Whatever that
Keith
is, I
David
need
in
it.
a purple tank top, I'm with it.
And speaking of that purple tank top, interesting how the one with the more pragmatic point of view is the more flamboyantly dressed and flamboyantly acted, while the one that is the shifter of paradigms is the guy that is stoic and dressed fairly rugged, normal guy, and is pretty understated until he puts the glasses on. And when they're interacting, I was just fascinated by the tone of how like Keith David is over the top, and as much as Keith David is over the top, Roddy Piper is as stoic and as still as you could possibly be. And that dynamic is how they not only established the tone, but also kept it. And then by the end, these two guys were operating on the same frequency. And that didn't even seem possible. And I think that is not only writing, but that is a fully directional choice to be able to balance the tone between sincerity, seriousness, and camp. Like it's
Yeah,
just all three weave together.
I was gonna piggyback on I think the glasses were the key to the thread of the uniting these two things because the glasses served two purposes. It served for the aesthetic of the 80s campy action movie. He throws them on. He looks like a badass. That's what you'd expect. But the glasses also being the gateway into the intelligent part of the movie, literally when he puts them on, you go into almost a different movie. And that is the key of injecting his intelligent social commentary with a, with an aesthetic prop straight out of an 80s campy action movie. That I think the glasses was the link between those two. I thought it was so brilliantly directed with
And
that choice.
and Justin, with you, like the moment that he puts on the glasses, Roddy Piper spits out the most insane quotes I've
I knew
seen
this was
in a
coming for you.
movie. Oh my God. He didn't say 2 words. And by the way, incredible acting. To be honest, I did not know who he was before I watched this movie. I'm not a WWE guy.
So that was my
Even
point
though
earlier, Justin.
Yeah.
Turks invented wrestling, by the way. We invented this. Co-opted by everyone else. However, I had no idea. And the moment he puts on the glasses, he says, I like chewing bubble gum and kicking ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. That's his
The fucking
first
greatest line. That is one of the greatest lines. So that is actually the reason why I picked this movie, by the way, is because when we watched Blackberry, that scene was in there, and I didn't know what the movie was. And then, as I mentioned, Naomi is a huge fan of this movie, and she randomly, after we watched Blackberry, she randomly said, I had gum, and I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. And I was like, were you listening when I was watching Blackberry? And she was like, no. And I was like, what did you just quote? Because that was like from the movie that I was watching. She was like, it's They Live. She was like, it's one of my favorite movies. So it was that line. That's what she said.
Oh wow! And the two, like,
That made me pick the, yeah.
Chet,
So
What's funny
anyway,
about
yeah,
that
what was
line,
your one quick
Roddy,
thing? Since we already talked about
yeah,
my one quick thing. Like, what was your one quick thing?
mine.
so Chet, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most incredible helicopter acting in the history of movies. The helicopter acting in this it's incredible. Like every time a helicopter appeared, it was like it not only jolted me, it was doing something. It wasn't just there's a helicopter. It was like the helicopter's coming into frame and then turning around and then coming down. There's as soon as you heard the helicopter coming, but then you didn't know where in frame it was coming in from. And so that is like I felt the same scariness that like that the characters felt, and I caught on to it like all the way to the end when when like he's about to shoot the disc, and he's about to shoot the disc, and then the girl with the crazy blue eyes is behind him about to shoot him, and then all of a sudden the helicopter comes up from the edge of the building. Yeah. I was like it was like the helicopter acting is out of this world. That's my one quick thing.
Yeah, that was dope. That was my one quick thing. We had kind of already talked about was like the purple tank top, but I do agree with him that like I think that goes again to like really good filmmaking and adding stakes into the filmmaking by the movement of the helicopter and where it's going to come in, where it's not, gives a level of fear and stakes to it, to where like they're all over the place, you don't know where they're coming from, right? And like there's like a little bit of like a hysteria to that I think could potentially like speak to where that came from for that director. But I agree with you that like it was, the helicopter was like this, like, and you never question why the helicopter is there. Like you just immediately are in it. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, they're watching, and like it's like almost like they always were watching. They've always been watching you, and it gives more of a fear to the idea of what this film is about. Is like you're never really in control. They're always in control.
Yeah.
My one quick thing is John Carpenter also does the music for his films. And the music in this movie is such a stellar pulse of the movie because a lot of it's very subtle, but it has this. It's like if you rewatch it, it's like Western style music blended with 80s synth. So it invokes 80s, but it also invokes like kind of this Western tone when he's, shotgunned up. And if you don't know, John Carpenter also, the Halloween, like he wrote the music himself. So just John Carpenter's true master of every level of filmmaking is just full blown on display in this movie of just what this man is, maybe one of the most underrated directors of all time, perhaps. When you really start looking at his filmography. And that, I guess, brings us to the end of They Live. So that was my film. So I guess up next is going to be our Chet. So Chet, why don't you tell us what
All right,
is
everybody.
coming?
What
So
movie we watching?
I don't like how Jerry said that. I don't like how Jerry said that.
I don't either. I'm pausing because I'm processing.
What I
Why are
do?
you looking like Steve Jobs right now, though?
You do.
Yeah.
Or you look like Jeremy Piven in Rush Hour with like a beard.
Croc skin, buttercream. Ooh,
Put a dead
okay.
animal on you. Croc skin.
Let's go in for the tot. Ooh,
Stole that scene,
Ooh,
by the
Lil'
way.
Kim.
Jeremy
Lil'
Piven
Kim.
was a legend in that scene.
Don't
Absolute
know the
legend.
size? Let's go in.
Yeah. Not sure on the size.
You know what's funny?
Let's
I don't know
go.
why I zipped it up because I had it open on purpose. I wanted it to be all. You know what? I will have it open on purpose now
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
reveal
so what's the
of
movie?
what I'm doing. I have a few movies that I'll wait until they're on streaming. But I will go with the rules. And the movie I'm picking is called Mike and Nick. Never mind. I'm going against it. It's
Obey.
called Mike.
Obey, Chet.
Obey, Chet.
It's called Obey Chet, and I'm gonna make it in the next week.
You think you see my face, but then when you put the glasses on,
Is that funny?
what's
to you?
wrong, Chet? What do you mean? Everything's fine.
Actually,
right?
this is perfect. Because there's one thing I wrote down, and I'm sorry to go back to it, but the one thing I wrote down that reminded me of us was when they see the guy in They Live. We're going back to They Live for 1 second. When they see the guy at the news studio, and he's the homeless guy from before, and he comes in and he's like, "Hey, I'm glad that you guys are buying in." And then he takes him on the tour of the alien place, and then the other two guys were like, "What the heck's going on?" That is Jeremy. He's the guy in the tuxedo talking about capitalism, and me and Justin are the other two guys, are Keith,
Chet,
David,
once
and
upon a time,
Roddy.
I would have been with you, but in my
That
30s,
is not true.
capitalism
If
has broken
anything,
me. I want
Justin
money
is
now.
Justin is the
I'm
girl
ready
that's
to
holding the
sell out.
gun. You're going to
Literally,
the
you think I'm with you,
satellite,
and I'm
and
like, I'm
Justin's the
sorry,
girl with the
Chet.
gun behind
I'm
you. Like,
tired of being
nah,
broke.
bro.
Bah! I am tired of being a broke
Nah, dog.
independent filmmaker. Ciao. I'm making Godzilla 16. Ciao. I'm selling
All
out.
right. Speaking of guns, my next movie is called Mike and Nick and Alice.
Vince Vaughn, right?
Vince Vaughn, starring Vince Vaughn.
Love Vince Vaughn.
Jimmy Tatro, and
Where is it streaming?
Hulu.
It's on
It's
Hulu,
streaming
everybody.
Yep, it's streaming on Hulu. It's who is Jimmy Tatro?
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
Oh, in the movie? Oh, Jimmy Tatro is the guy, YouTube guy. He went to U of A.
Okay.
And he was in. You'll recognize him when you see him. I like him. It's a comedy. Yeah, fork up.
Oh, from American Vandal.
American Vandal, yes. It's a comedy. It's a mafia movie. Those are two of my favorite genres.
We support
Vince Vaughn,
David Spade on this podcast. We support David Spade,
That's true, dude. David Spade.
the greatest
Issue.
comedian of all time. David Spade.
I
Joe
love
Hey,
Dirt.
Sun Devil.
Name a funnier movie than Joe Dirt. You can't.
Please.
At
You
least they're
can't.
not 17
Really.
tonight, baby.
Yeah.
Anchorman.
Hey, listen. We
Borat.
David Spade's
stand
not in that.
with David Spade.
David Spade's not an Anchorman.
Name 3 David Spade movies besides Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt,
Black Sheep.
Grown Ups.
Yep. Grown-ups. Black Sheep. I just
What's
said
it
Black
called with Bad News Bears?
You can't name it.
Sheep. Yep.
It's actually Benchwarmers. Benchwarmers.
Bench
is what it's
warmers.
called.
Benchwarmers.
That's 3.
That is 3.
You said 57 times before you could come up with another one. Anyway, I like David Spade. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because you put me on the spot. You know, I gotta. How do you expect me to? Even the guy who can't think says something. You know.
First of all, you act as though saying Joe Dirt didn't count for 12 movies.
It doesn't because it's clear. Yeah. But speaking of even the guy who can't think says something. Vince Vaughn, Mike and Nick and Alice, Hulu. Check it out. I'll be in the update episode telling you who I think you should watch it with, and we'll go from there. Anybody got anything else?
No. On a side note, do you know my favorite? That is my favorite Vince Vaughn scene in a movie when he does that. Another choice moment, like when he just is like, even the guy who can't think, like says something. Like go back and watch that scene. And watch how he performs. Again, being like, that happened in the moment. And it's just like, it creates such a realness, creates such an authenticity to like what the character's doing that they're just gold choices that man makes. He's a legend always for me.
Jeremy, I watched it recently and I had this exact same thought and realized the other guys with him on the Channel 9 news team are extras. They are background. They are not. They don't have lines. They don't have anything.
He's purely Vince Vaughn. He's coming in as the reliever. I'm coming in throwing gas.
And well, you know, part of the reason I landed on this, and then is basically over the strike I rewatched all the comedy movies we grew up with, because those are the kind of movies that I want to make and to be in. And I think there is a frequency that's missing. There's like this millennial comedy void that we all grew up on those movies, but there's not really a lot of filmmakers that have gotten a chance to make their version of it. And after watching all of those, rewatching all of those ones we grew up on from 2003 to 2010, Vince Vaughn, I did not realize, has his DNA of the way he talks and his cadence is in every single one of myself, my friends' conversations. Like the way that he talks is infected in our intonations.
He really, he's influential. Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that.
Like the most influential in like a subtle way that he doesn't deserve. He doesn't get his flowers. No, I think it has
incredibly charming, incredibly charming,
and quick. He's so
Vince
quick.
Vaughn, that puffy motherfucker. He wasn't
Shout out to Entourage. Shout out to Greg Ellen.
This is like old school Vince Vaughn. It's like swingers Vince Vaughn. It's like
swingers Vince Vaughn. Yeah,
it's new school Vince Vaughn.
Shout out to Turtle, aka.
All right, thank you everybody for checking out the movie group. What the movie group chat? I fucked it up.
The movie group chat, guys. The movie group chat podcast is our name. We are excited about it. You guys are a part of this journey with us, so you're going to see us stumble. You're going to see us fall. But above all, we'll be watching some movies. How's that? Did that work?
Proud of yourself for that? Waiting for it.
That was good.
Hello.
Thank you guys for listening. Start to send us your movie ideas. We're really excited for that last week. Let me give you the email address one more time. I believe it is the movie group chat at gmail.com. That's the movie group chat at gmail.com. Subject line it movie selection, and then go into a little bit about what the movie is. And if we pick it, we'll give you a shout out. So make sure you tell us what your name is. And yeah, we'll watch it from there. Thank you guys so much.
Hi, everybody. Turkey.